Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, August 15th, aka moving day. Orientation is starting on Tuesday, so I am going to be heading up to Austin today. So earlier this week we ended up getting some bad news. The school ended up sending us an email saying that basically because of the recent COVID spikes in the area, in and around Austin, the responsible thing is to move our orientation online. So I will no longer be having an in-person orientation, although I am still going to be heading up there for orientation week. Before we got the email way back, my apartment wasn't going to be ready in time for orientation, so me and another girl who has a similar circumstance, her apartment's also not going to be ready in time for orientation. We ended up splitting an Airbnb, so we ended up paying for that. So since we already paid for it, we're going to go up there anyways and just do our orientation stuff there, even though it's all going to be Zoom and remote. So that whole thing is really heartbreaking. I think, mainly I'm just disappointed because I didn't have a graduation. I graduated 2020. I didn't get to walk a stage. My graduation was televised, kind of. It was live streamed. It was kind of just a slideshow of our pictures. The president said some nice words about us, but I didn't really get a graduation, and so to get my orientation for law school also taken from me has been something that I'm kind of struggling with. I think just the disappointment of not getting the full law school experience right away. Obviously it's the responsible thing to do, so, I can't be mad at them for it, but I can be disappointed, just because, I genuinely only hope to go to law school once, so, I'm only going to get to do law school orientation once, ideally, so, to have it moved remote, and already not be getting the full law school experience that I have been hoping and dreaming about for years now. Yeah, it was heartbreaking getting that news. I cried for like a good hour. It still makes me really sad, actually. So, but we're still gonna make the most of it. Me and the girl that I'm staying with, we are going to, try and make the most out of this situation. We already have a couple of friends in Austin, so we're going to try and, congregate responsibly and still try and do what we can to make the most out of, a really, really shitty situation. Again, I'm not mad at the school for the decision they made. It's the responsible one, but it just sucks because, you want that law school experience, you want the orientation, you want being able to meet everybody, you want the socials, you want the mixers, you want the barbecues, you want to meet and network and do all of that, and I can't, and, that also comes with the fear that what if, school moves entirely online, what if, classes were moved completely remote, and my first year of law school is going to be remote on Zoom. And I think that scares me the most, just because I don't know if I'd be able to succeed in that environment. I only had to do Zoom school my senior year for a few months, and my senior year I took a really light load, so it wasn't even like I had to deal with a lot of stuff, like course material or lectures or anything like that. It was like an art class and like a capstone, so it was like independent research and then like art, so it wasn't like I had to learn a lot or deal with a lot of coursework while on Zoom. So I don't know if, my learning style is conducive to Zoom. We'll still try and make the most out of it, I am hopeful that by taking these extra precautions now, that the law school is going to do the very best they can to prevent us from having to go remote. Like, I've even said it, like, I'll glue a mask to my face, I will sleep in it, if it means that I can go to classes in person, because I really, 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 really do not want to do remote classes. And as of right now, the law school said that all in-person events, except for classes, are canceled until October 1st. So, I mean, it seems like they really want to make in-person classes happen, but it's just a matter of, is it the responsible thing to do? So, that being said, I'm about to take off to Austin. I just needed to grab a quick coffee, and then I just wanted to hop on here and chat with y'all real quick before heading out. So orientation starts on Tuesday. It's going to be mostly through Zoom, but I'll just kind of keep y'all updated on how that's going, and we'll talk soon. Night one in the Airbnb is done. So it's about 11:30. Game plan for today. I have to go get a COVID test. UT's requiring all students to have a negative COVID test prior to classes starting. So I'm gonna go get that done today. They offer free ones on campus, so I'm gonna make my way over to campus. It should be only about a 10-minute drive. Go get that taken care of, and then I'm gonna go hanging out with my boyfriends for a little bit. I want to try and knock out the rest of my tort slot preview stuff. I have a couple of lessons left on law preview. I'm not really stressed about trying to finish the rest of it. I think I want to do as much of it as I can, but I'm not gonna overwhelm myself with trying to get it done, especially since, like, now that orientation's starting tomorrow, we already have, like, reading assignments coming up, so I'm not gonna, stress myself out too much regarding, like, trying to finish this law preview stuff. If I finish it, I finish it. If I don't, I don't. The good thing is I got a scholarship for it, so I didn't actually pay for it, so I don't feel too bad about not finishing it. I think it was kind of just more for, like, the exposure and just, like, the small benefits that it gives me. So I just want to see how far I can get in it. I'll probably do a little bit of that on my free time. And then tonight we have a, like, society like trivia night. It's on Zoom. It was originally supposed to be, like, an in-person event, but when everything got moved remote for orientation, all in-person events were canceled as well. So the dean fellow who's in charge of our society, she's really trying to do her best to still make it an interactive like environment for us, which I really appreciate. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't know how it's gonna go, but it's still worth, like, showing up and just, like, getting familiar with the people in my, like, society, because those are the people I'm going to be in class with for, like, the next year. So it's worth showing up and just being a familiar face to those people. So yeah, anyways, I'm probably gonna finish my coffee, finish getting ready, probably watch a little Criminal Minds, and then go ahead and head out to my COVID test. So if I don't talk to y'all later today, then I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Hey guys, so day 1 of Zoom orientation is done, and I gotta say, Zoom law school orientation is not really the move for me. It was kind of rough. The Zoom fatigue was really hard to kind of get over. I get distracted really easily. You know, my phone goes off, I always like look at it. So I think it was just kind of hard for me to like keep my mind focused and like on the material and what we were like kind of discussing and going over. So I definitely did not give it my like 100 full like attention throughout the entire thing. And that's not really what I wanted to do going into this, but I think that's just a product of the platform and like Zoom, so that was hard. But as far as like what the day looked like, so first thing this morning was like an opening session, so it was kind of just all the deans talking to us and welcoming us. They did like a little oath, kind of just getting us like sworn in basically as like Texas lawyers. So that was really kind of like eye-opening, like, oh, this is like actually like happening right now. So I've been sworn into something, not really sure what I got sworn into, but like it happened. And then right after that I had intro to ethical lawyering, so we kind of just talked about very briefly what's expected as being a lawyer, so like the 3 C's of being an ethical lawyer, just the kind of ethical standards of being a lawyer and what kind of goes into that. So it was a really short session. Since it is on Zoom, the school did condense a lot of the session, so what normally would have been like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour session ended up being like really short, so it was only like an hour session. So we kind of just flew by it really quick. And then I had a pretty decent lunch break, and then at like 1:45 I had a Dean's Fellow meeting. So really kind of like brief overview of what like a Dean's Fellow is. So if you ever had like a peer mentor in undergrad, it's kind of like the same thing. They kind of like guide you through like the first year of law school. They like kind of like give you tips on class. They kind of just make sure you're acclimated with the community and the environment. I was a peer mentor in college, and so I appreciate the fact that Texas has a program similar to that. So we just had a meeting with our Dean's Fellow, nothing like too big, just kind of like getting to know each other and kind of just some housekeeping stuff. And then after that I had my first legal analysis class where we went over the like different court structures, the different hierarchies and things like that. So all in all, it wasn't like too overwhelming as far as like material. I just think like the platform that it's delivered on, Zoom, was just not very good for my learning style. So tomorrow should be a little bit shorter. I only have like 3 sessions, I think, but in a little bit, me and my Airbnb roomie and a friend are gonna go grab some dinner from this place on 7th. So it looks really cute. So I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Hey guys, so day 2 of orientation is done. Today went a lot better than yesterday, I think. Today just felt like a lot more of the information was a lot more like purposeful, at least for like me personally. Yesterday was just kind of a lot of like introductions and just kind of like general overviews of various things. Today felt a lot more like law school focused. So I just finished up my last Zoom session. It's like 5 o'clock. I'm starving, so I'm gonna make one of my little like home like TV dinner things because I can't cook. But this morning I had a career service offices presentation, and so I thought it was going to kind of just be like an introduction to services, but it was actually really like it was kind of more like a workshop, and so we spent like an hour kind of going over our like elevator speech basically. So they called it what do they call it? They called it a core message, and so basically like when you go out and you meet like potential employers or potential mentors and resources, you know, you give them this like short 60-second like little like spiel, and you're kind of like, hey, this is who I am, this is where I go to school, here are 3 skills that I have, and here are 3 examples from like college or undergrad or like work that exemplify these skills that I have. And so we kind of workshopped that. We got to see some like examples, and so I thought that was really helpful, just because, you know, even though I don't need that right now at this moment, as I start my like law school like experience and start like going out into the world, that's definitely something I'm gonna want to be able to have and be able to pull out of my back pocket. So it's good to have that to like start working on it. And then after lunch we had our society meeting, so I kind of briefly discussed that a few days ago, but so UT has a thing called societies. Basically think like Hogwarts houses. So basically every law school has like sections, so they break up the class into different sections. So there are 4 sections at UT, and each section is further divided into 4 subsections, 4 or 5. This year's class is pretty big, so I think each section has 5 subsections actually. And then within each section there's 2 societies. So I'm part of the Cadena Society, which I really love because we're named after a prominent Mexican-American UT alum. And so I don't know, that just kind of warms my heart that there's a society named after, you know, someone who looks and talks like me. And so that was just really nice to be able to like read his like bio and just kind of learn more about him and just know that, you know, they are very proud of him and they're, you know, they're naming a society after him. So it was just really nice to, you know, to see that right off the bat. But so I don't know, it's really cool. I went to a really small school for undergrad. I mean, when your school is like 1,400 people, it's a little hard to like have school spirit. So I think one of my big things coming to UT was like I was really looking forward to that. And so, you know, not only am I getting like mentorship and like camaraderie from like the society program, but also like our society coordinator, the like 3L that's in charge of like everything, she's super into like Cadena. Like she made t-shirts, she wants to make like Yetis, she wants to get us stickers. And so I don't know, I'm really here for it. I'm definitely like a team player. Like I will rep the shirt, I will definitely use the Yeti, I will slap the sticker on something. So I'm here for it. It was really nice kind of just to meet the entire like society rather than just my like Dean's Fellow group, just to kind of like see everybody. And then my last session that I just finished up with was like Law School 101, preparing for class. So we had to read a case and kind of just like review it, and then we kind of like discussed how to actually like dissect a case. And so even though I do have like experience with like reading cases from undergrad, I really appreciated this refresher because it has been a few years since I did, you know, read cases. Like it's been, I think the last time I read a case was like 2019. And so I hadn't really thought about how much a refresher I needed, but it was definitely really useful, especially kind of going over like how do you figure out what the issue is in a case, because that was always something I struggled with in con law. So I know that that's something I'm gonna have to work on again when reading cases, but I really appreciate that the law school puts on like different workshop sessions like this. So yeah, we kind of went over just like the structure of like a case, how to read the different cases, Um, and, you know, we briefly kind of went over the process of briefing a case. However, there's another workshop tomorrow that's going to go a little more in depth with that. We're actually going to brief the case. We kind of just discussed the process today. We didn't actually brief the case. So tomorrow we're going to do that. And yeah, so today was really good. I feel a lot better. I think yesterday was just a little hard because, you know, I'm still like trying to like deal with the fact that I'm not gonna have an orientation, that like this is my orientation, so I think I'm just kind of like struggling with that. But I don't know, today was a lot better. As far as things happening later, I'm gonna see if I can knock out some more law preview stuff. I'm not gonna like stress myself out trying to like finish it, but I just want to see what else I can kind of like get done. And then Allison, my roommate, and I are having a couple of other girls from the law school over for a wine night. So that's gonna be really fun, just so that way we can kind of like unwind and just get to know some of the girls a little bit better. But that's it for the rest of the night. Tomorrow doesn't look too busy. I think I only have like 3 sessions, and I should be done pretty early in the afternoon. So, but I will talk to y'all a little bit later. Okay, so day 3 of orientation is done. Not as crazy as a day. Started off the morning only with 1 session. It was a diversity and inclusion in action session. Honestly, I was a little disappointed by it. I think I was kind of hoping to see a little bit more of a diversity, inclusion, and equity strategy portrayed by the law school. It kind of more covered kind of how like the workforce and law firms are tackling DEI, and so I think the point of that session was to reassure you know, law students who represent minorities or underrepresented groups, but I think just, at least for me personally, I was wanting to see a little bit more focus towards the law school, just because, you know, I mean, I do plan on going into the workforce at some point, but that's not my immediate focus right now. You know, right now I want to make sure that the school I'm going into has DEI as a focus and are actively taking steps to work towards that goal. And I just don't think that was really portrayed in the session. It was really focused on, you know, entering the workforce. I think another slightly disappointing part about that session was just that sometimes these like DEI sessions can come across as like self-congratulatory. It's kind of like, oh, let me talk about how our firm is doing X, Y, and Z to promote DEI. We're doing such a good job. We like to hire diverse candidates. And, you know, like, that's good. You should be doing these things, but also just something about having to brag about it just also, I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it was like a panelist of a bunch of different speakers, and one of the speakers who actually I really liked, I think her name was Prisha. She graduated from UT Law, I think in like 03 or like 07 or something like that, but she was a woman of color, and so I think as far as like the voices on the panel, hers resonated the most with me, obviously, because I'm a woman of color. But she mentioned how, like, you know, you shouldn't call, you know, historically underrepresented minorities, diverse candidates. You know, you have diverse applicant pools, you have diverse employers or employment, but the candidate themselves are not diverse. And I don't know, I liked that little bit because, like, yes, you're right, like, I am not diverse. I bring diversity to the table. I bring my own unique perspectives and voice. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the time, these like firms, as they start rolling out these like DEI initiatives, and they start forming these like committees and like plans, that they kind of get boggled down on the buzzwords. They're like, oh, we need diversity, and we need to have equity for all. And like, little side note for equity, I mean, equity isn't for all. I mean, equity literally means, you know, leveling the playing field. Like, equity doesn't mean like, oh, we're all given the same exact like advantages. No, it means that the people who have been systemically disadvantaged are given certain advantages to get them to the same level as people who have historically been given those advantages, so that way we're all at the same level. So by definition, equity shouldn't be for everybody. Equity should be for the people who have been disadvantaged. But anyways, I think for most of that presentation, it kind of just felt like kind of like a little pageantry, a little self-congratulatory. It just felt like they were really focused on hitting some of the buzzwords. I did really like the things that Prisha had to say, but I think just in general, I was a little disappointed with that session. We're supposed to have another one tomorrow called Courageous Conversations. It's supposed to be more kind of like workshopping, like a toolkit, so that way we can have, you know, more constructive conversations like these in law school. So we'll see how that one goes. That one might be a little bit better. We'll see. After lunch, we had a bar admission requirement presentation, so that one was kind of stressful. Basically just kind of going over the timeline of, you know, here are the things you're going to need to do in order to apply for the Texas bar. I did not know that I was going to have to submit a declaration this soon. Basically, a declaration is just, you know, my formal declaration saying that, you know, after I graduate law school, I would like to practice in the state of Texas, so I would like to take the bar exam. But apparently I need to turn that in pretty soon. I guess it's not required, but they did say that if you turn it in now, it helps with the process, because it can be kind of a longish process, because there's a background check, there's a character check, they have to review my actual law school application, compare it with the background check to make sure that I didn't omit any, like, I don't know, any crimes that I committed, any employment that I omitted, and then if I did, there's gonna have to be an inquiry. I'm gonna have to explain why I didn't. So apparently it can be a long process, so they say to get it done now, at least the declaration, so that way they can start that whole process, and hopefully by the time I graduate from law school in 3 years, I'll be all set to be able to take the bar. So just kind of went over the documents and the steps required for that. Thankfully, I don't have to report my speeding tickets, so we're all good there. As far as everything else, you know, I haven't committed any serious crimes. I don't think I omitted any employment that's, like, really all that, like, relevant. I mean, I have to go back and read it again, but I think it said, like, 10 years or at least until you were like 18, so that makes it a lot easier, I think, but I'll have to double check that again because I'm not sure. The last thing was another Law School 101 workshop. Today we kind of went over the process of briefing a case, so we had to read a case. So we actually read, like, a torts case that we'll be discussing on our first, like, week of classes, so that way we could already have, like, that case brief ready, so we can walk into class with it and use it and kind of, you know, compare it with our class lecture and see how it holds up. Basically, it's not a too complicated process. I think I mean, I do have some experience with case briefing. I took a constitutional law class in undergrad, and I had to brief basically every case that I read in that class. So I did get pretty good at like dissecting a case and being able to like pull out the like meaty bits that you need for a case brief. But it was still nice to kind of get a good refresher. Like I mentioned yesterday, I always struggle with finding the issue. I think the issue of a case is probably like the most vague for me to figure out, just because sometimes it's explicitly stated, like in today's case, they're like, you know, was the judgment of 7,500, you know, an excessive amount of damages? You know, that's an issue. And so, you know, then the court was like, no, it was not excessive. So sometimes it's really nice like that. In like constitutional law, sometimes it's not. So I think just getting, you know, reacclimated to that. But it was still nice to kind of go over it. I worked out like a highlighter system that I'm going to try with these first couple of readings and see if that helps. I hadn't really implemented anything like that during undergrad, during those law classes, so I'm gonna see how this works. I don't know if I'll stick with it. You know, it might end up just taking more time than it's actually worth, but we'll give it a shot these first like few readings and see if it's actually worth it. But that was basically it today as far as orientation. Afterwards, me and my roommate Allison took a walk around campus, which was really nice. I didn't really get out much yesterday, so it felt good to just like get out in the sun and sweat a little bit and actually get on campus, because I haven't really been on campus much this summer. So we took a little walk around campus, and then we snuck into the law school and just walked around a little bit, took some pictures. So that was it for today. Don't really have much planned for the rest of the night. Probably just gonna rest and relax. Tomorrow's gonna be pretty hectic. I have like 2 orientation sessions, but once I'm done with orientation, I'm actually gonna be moving into my apartment. So once I get done with my last session, I gotta pack up my shit here, drive to campus, meet my family to move into this apartment, and then start all of that. So tomorrow's gonna be a little rough. I might have to get an energy drink or something, but that is it for today. So I will talk to y'all tomorrow.